Giant fans that have supported us for more than 30 years at Giant Stadium, for all those years in Yankee Stadium, and some of you even back to the Polo Grounds. This is for you. This is for you.
Listen to me. Okay. The rest of your life, man, nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Giants Guys. This is John Fenley, and as always, with me is Craig Santucci of nygiantsrush.com, who was at yesterday's ball game in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and you must have gotten wet, my friend.
Well, I'm just trying out now. Put it that way.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. And, actually, I know we're kidding around. I usually, we tailgate early. So by the time the game comes, kicks off, there's not a whole lot of imbibing, I would say, because it's a $10 beer and I need to focus on how bad the Giants are. And so, and it's in true Giants nature. Last year we had 4 games with rain, I thought I'd never see another monsoon again after that Tennessee game, and yesterday was just as bad. It rained from kickoff to the last play.
Yeah, and it rains for both teams. I don't think it really affected the passing game as much as people thought. I mean, holding on to the football, there was some drop passes. But, I didn't see it. There wasn't a lot of long passes by either team down the field. The longest completion for the Giants was the touchdown pass to Red Ellison. What was that, 28 yards?
Yep, his best pass of the day.
Right. And, he's thrown a touchdown pass in each game he's been in. He started, Daniel Jones. And then Murray, the longest completion he had was 12 yards. He had 5 of them, but they were all 12 yards. So, it wasn't a wide open game like we thought it would have been because the defenses are so bad. Arizona was 30th against the pass going into the game yesterday.
Not anymore.
No, they moved up. They're number 1 now. No. They're with those sacks, unbelievable. All right, so a 27-21 loss, very disappointed. What was the biggest takeaway or the biggest disappointment you had in yesterday's loss?
It's always hard to just, with the Giants to nail it down to 1. But I guess, the thing that leaps out at you is that we're consistently out-coached and they look unprepared. 8 minutes and change into the game, they're losing 14-0.
Right.
And after a week and a half of preparation, there's no way that the backup running back, in case you weren't paying attention, Chris Johnson is their number 1 back coming off an injury. He went out in the first couple minutes of the game. They put the backup in, and he just ran wild. I mean, he ran inside, outside, inside, cutting outside. So my takeaway is that we still don't know how to coach and make adjustments in the game. We leave, the Jones and the offense consistently behind the 8 ball, making them press to get something done. And it's very, very predictable sophomoric amateur offense. In today's day and age. I mean, when you look at like some of these power sweeps or these reverses or just some of the unique things that offenses are doing them. We're not doing them. And so that was my biggest takeaway. You can get into players and so forth, but the biggest takeaway was we can't compete because our coaches just aren't good enough.
You know, that's the theme around the internet today. There's not a lot of confidence in the coaching staff. I think it was 60% of the poll that I sent out, 60% of the people that took it, a couple of hundred responses, have no confidence left in the coaching staff. You know, I asked if they're headed in the right direction. I think only 8% of the responders said that the Giants were headed in the right direction with the people they have.
Yeah, and this is not about Jones. I mean, Jones had another bad day, but it's not about Jones. It's about, you know, just because you have a rookie quarterback doesn't mean you know how to develop a rookie quarterback. Because right now, the quarterback is making the same mistakes over and over and over. And it's either A, he's fitting the ball in a very small window where he shouldn't be, B, or 2, he's throwing into double coverage, and 3, he's not throwing the ball away, you know, and he doesn't have 2 hands on the ball. So these are very correctable, but you ask yourself, all right, well, you know, is anyone talking to him? Is anybody working with him? And then it goes into, you know, and I'm saying this because I've gotten some pushback on Twitter about it. Yes. If you're listening to the Giants, guys, you're hearing me say it. Yes, this is Pat Shurmur's offense. However, it is implemented and devised by Mike Shula. He watches the tape. He breaks it down. He makes a log of successful plays versus non-successful plays. He watches the opponent's tape, and he breaks down what's going to work, what he doesn't, and him and Pat put together the card, what they're going to use. If for any reason Mike Shula put in there that a reverse was going to work on a team, they'd have a reverse ready to go. Mike Shula is a big part of what we would call the engine or the offensive engine every week. So while, yes, Pat calls the plays, the actual implementation and strategy comes from Mike Shula.
Yeah. And I think that could be a bit of a problem because he wasn't their first choice to be offensive coordinator. Their first choice,
from the Vikings.
Yeah,
right?
Kevin Stepnowski was the first, and they didn't get permission to talk to him. The Vikings didn't let him go, and now he's their offensive coordinator, and they're obviously playing very well at the moment, and they have been since he's been there. But you know, Shurmur has the final call on, you know, what plays they run. And, you know, there was a couple of plays yesterday late in the game that just, you had you scratching your head. They were 3rd and 18, and they called a draw play late in the game.
Did you see his response in the post-game press conference?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me. In case anyone hasn't seen it, I mean, it says volumes about Pat Shurmur. Volumes. I mean, he needs an advisor or a PR coordinator because he basically said, well, they ran a draw against us in a big yardage situation, so we tried it. I mean, what a bunch of bunk.
And he also said they were in 4-down territory. They're in their own end.
Yeah.
And they're in 4-down territory. 4th and 15. Of course, he gets sacked. Jones gets sacked, and that's the end of it. And loses the football. Not that it mattered. They would have gotten the football anyway, Arizona.
You can't tell a New York media you ran a play because they ran it against you and it worked.
Absolutely not.
I mean, like, you should get fired for shit like that. Excuse me. I did not mean to say that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to fire this guy.
No, either do I, but that's
a lot of people think they should. And people, you know, who have level heads are saying they're not going anywhere with him. Why continue?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, if you need to fire a shot across the bow, you know, I love a good team that sends a message, right? Like, how many times is like Belichick let a guy go in the middle of the year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or bench a guy. Yeah, or bench a guy. Like, you go to the Super Bowl and you're starting cornerbacks on the bench, right? What was it? Malcolm Butler.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
cost
you
them
got to
too.
send a message. You got to send a message. What's that?
It cost them too.
Yep.
Putting
He's
that
not
guy on the
afraid to
bench.
do it.
Yeah, but
So
that's how you run an organization. It's result oriented. You're not getting results. You're 7-16 since the beginning of last season. I mean, there's not many teams worse than that. And right now, if the draft was held today, you'd be drafting 6th again. So what does that tell you? You're not getting any better.
no, and you've got to put some type of strategic offense in. The offense is. I mean, let's not paint this in a light. We're getting special teams and defensive touchdowns.
You're getting plays on defense. And yesterday they had a very good defensive scheme, except for they couldn't stop the one guy running the ball because they were only playing 2 linemen and 2 linebackers, or 3 linemen and 2 linebackers, and the rest were defensive backs. So they weren't really, and they weren't up in the box. Okay, so, if they have a run-heavy attack, which they did, they weren't throwing the ball far. So why weren't the Giants cramming the box a little more? That would have stopped this kid Edmonds from breaking out. And, he ran for 2 touchdowns of 20 yards and another one for 22 yards. All right, so you're in your red zone defense almost. Nobody should be able to run on that.
Yeah, like I said, they look very unprepared. A lot of missed tackles there, as this kid Edmonds started getting hot.
Out of Fordham, may we add.
Correct, yeah, local guy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the cutback lanes were wide open as he slashed. He was very slashy, as he slashed his way through the Giants. All his touchdown runs were 15 yards or more.
They were 2 for 20 and 1 for 22.
Yeah, I mean,
they're technically not in the red zone. Right outside the red zone.
Red zone plus, right?
Yeah, because they did not get into the red zone until the second half. So one, and that was the 22-yard one. So that's definitely not in the red zone. So but you're basically in your red zone defense. So you should be looking for them to run the ball. You should be looking for some play action. Obviously, everybody should be on their toes and not their heels. There's not a lot of turf behind you.
And and to come back to your original point is I don't think Betcher had a bad game plan, and Betcher is not getting a pass, but right now, I mean, this is about, you're getting a touchdown on a punt block. A couple of weeks ago, you're getting a touchdown on Peppers picking up the ball and running it back for a touchdown. I mean, you're getting contributions from special teams and the defense. The offense doesn't score enough points. The offense is pedestrian and consistently being out-coached and having no in-game adjustments. Just, what was the other comment he made? I didn't know that Barkley was hurt. How could you not know your star player's hurt? What are you doing? I mean, you don't notice that you just put Wayne Gallman in the game?
Right. Wayne Gallman came in, ran for a 10-yard run, and, of course, he gets called back for a holding penalty by Nate Solder.
Yeah. And
who had another great game.
Well, listen, I'm not going to, cry over spilt milk, but the officiating yesterday was a travesty.
Yeah.
And if the NFL can't get behind squashing the egos of these guys, I don't know what we're watching. Like, I'll just stop watching because it was horrendous. There were 4 penalties that were ready, quote unquote, physically not able to happen. Like, you got pass interference on Jenkins yesterday when he's in front of the wide receiver. The wide receiver pushed off and fell down.
Right.
And they called pass interference. Like, I played corner. I played safety. Like, he's in front of the receiver. He's not trying to get leverage.
Yeah,
he's in front of. He's terrible call. Then you get Kyler Murray scrambles. He's in mid-slide, okay? Like, he has not been touched. He's not down yet. He's sliding. His body is sliding. The linebacker is in, full extension dive, from behind, and then they call, unnecessary roughness. The player hadn't even, stopped moving yet. And they're
going to call that every time.
I don't know how they can. He wasn't in front of him. He wasn't fully given up yet. I mean, it was a live play. It wasn't like that the quarterback was down. It wasn't like the linebacker was in front of him and teed off on him like they did on Jones.
Yeah.
Carter was already in mid dive. It wasn't like he slid, he stopped, and then Carter came diving in from behind. Like, it was bang bang simultaneously. Like, that's the game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially when you see it live. Like, when you watch it in slow motion, you can carve up pretty much anything, right? But in the game, live, bang, bang. And then we've also have now fully come full circle on reviewing pass interference. And we now know, and listening to the post-game show of Bob Papa and Carl Banks, everyone is in agreement that the refs don't want this, so they're not overturning any plays because they feel this new rule is an overcorrection to some plays from last year.
I believe that too.
Yep. So they are not going to support this new rule, and they're taking the game into their own hands, and the NFL needs to step in somewhere because they're literally, it looks like they have money on the game.
Yeah, they're not utilizing the new rule properly. Okay, and Shermer doesn't realize this and still challenges it anyway, even though he knows he's not going to win. So he loses a timeout for nothing. They haven't really overturned. I think they've only overturned a few plays so far that have been challenged. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like 5%.
Not on the Giants.
No, so he knows the percentages of, the odds are against him that he's going to get that play overturned. Yet he threw the flag anyway and decided to challenge it. He lost the timeout. Not that it mattered, but it could matter.
Yeah, it could matter. I mean,
in another game.
The talk in the stands was, how do you come out against New England and play smash mouth football, 14-14 at halftime, the defense is flying around, and then this week, with a week and a half of preparation, you come out and you let them put 14 on you, midway through the first quarter. Like, totally asleep, unprepared, not motivated at all, just really disappointing
right.
all the way around.
No sense of urgency at all with this team.
No.
All right, and on offense, Carl Banks had said, and I saw a tweet, that he was calling in the booth for Shermer to bench Barkley because he's not 100% and he can't protect himself on the field. Now, I don't know if I saw that while I was watching the game because, after he went out hobbling, he came back and he scored a touchdown. He led the drive. He had a couple of big runs. So he looked like Barkley after that. So maybe Banks was wrong from what he saw, but,
he was hobbling a little bit after these plays. I mean, he's definitely sore. He's definitely not 100%. Right. But here's the thing. It's not like they gave him a ton of carries. I mean, they threw the ball a lot yesterday. Right. I don't know why we just didn't play some smash mouth football. And with Gallman back, they could have gave Gallman 10 carries to take the weight off of Barkley, and maybe it would have made a difference.
Absolutely. But why do that?
Because why do that? Yes, exactly. Because
this is how it shifts. They get their guys back. Okay, Ingram obviously isn't 100%. He did drop the ball, drop a key pass there.
Two.
He dropped 2. All right, the ball was slippery, but the one I'm talking about, he was wide open, no excuse for.
On the sideline.
On the sideline, right. So they pick up where they left off the week before and just decide to go heavy on Golden Tate. And they forget that they have Ingram in the game. They forget they have Barkley back. They just decide they're going to throw it to Tate. And Tate, by the way, wasn't open a lot. There was a guy right on him. Now, that may not be his fault that the ball got there at the same time as the defender.
Yeah, and that's
Jones's fault, too.
Yep, and that's something that needs to be corrected. And it's just, I don't know if they're making, subtle suggestions, but he's got to stop throwing the ball.
You got to tell Alex Tanney to tell him, because that's what he's there for.
Fine, fine, but someone's got to tell him that this is not Duke, this is not college. Stop trying to throw the ball into a tiny little window, because the cornerbacks actually in the pros can play.
What Shermer has been preaching to him is when he rolls out, okay, and you're about to get set, you've got to get rid of the football.
Wait,
Get
you're
rid
telling
of
me
the ball.
You're telling me Shermer's telling him this because
Yes, he tells him every week, you got to throw that one away. You got to throw that one away, and the kid won't do it. So that's why he ends up either getting sacked or throwing an interception or making a bad play or a bad decision.
because he's holding the ball for 3 stinking days.
When the play is done, you either run it out of bounds or run as far as you can or just get rid of it. Okay, don't try to force it in somewhere. You know, Aaron Rodgers can do that, but he's been in the league a dozen years. You know, you could do that once you learn how to do the rest.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, it'd be just nice if he could just play some conservative football and let everybody else make great athletic plays. I mean, look, he still doesn't know how to slide. I mean, they haven't taught him how to slide.
I saw that again yesterday, and it made me nervous. He went head first.
Yep. You know, sometimes it's gutsy and you're cheering for it, but it's only going to take one time. And listen, he took a good shot, you know, yesterday. Yeah. I mean, he's going to get hurt. The offensive line was poor, so he was already getting pummeled.
Yeah.
You know, and again, make an in-game adjustment, run a screen. You know,
You're asking the Giants coaches to make an in-game adjustment?
Oh God,
You're asking a lot.
I know, because you know what kills me is that, and again, I'm sitting there, I'm wet, I'm miserable, it's pouring, and you just start looking at this defense, and I swear to you, every single play looks the same. Like there's no movement. There's no heavy one side. Like in general, when they were just teeing off, all I kept thinking is, why don't we run a center screen? And for you people out there that don't know what that is, that's the running back picking up a screen in the center of the field instead of like, you know, a swing pass or a screen to the sideline. These guys were just coming in and kicking Jones's butt. Instead, all you need to do is drop the ball over top the lineman right into the running back's hand. Instead, we run swings and flares, wheel routes, all out on the sideline where the Cardinal defense was playing exceptional on the outside.
Yeah.
You know? So you're sitting there and you're watching it and you're like, well, why don't they use the middle of the field? And they just don't. They just continue to make the same, you know, mistakes. And I love when the fans go, here comes the draw play.
Yep.
You know, it's like it's so predictable. I feel like I'm watching Kevin Gilbride all over.
Oh, man. So it was definitely a winnable game that they didn't win because they got down early, because they came out with their heads up their asses again. And that's something that I can't understand why they're such a slow starting team. You come out of that tunnel, you should be fired up. You should have a plan. You know, the first couple of games, they had a plan on offense. You know, they had those scripted plays, and they scored. You know, they're not even doing that anymore.
No, and like I said, you know, it's always I've been always a big fan of if it works, go back to it. You know, Fowler, you know, was kind of getting ignored underneath. You know, keep throwing him the ball. He made a couple nice catches, right?
Yes.
You know, if Ingram's dropping the ball, you could see you and I talked about this last year. Like, hello, people, Red Ellison can catch the ball. Throw him the football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a big, strong, you know, rumbling type of tight end, like kind of old 80s type of tight end, you know?
Exactly, yes. And, you know, he made a beautiful play yesterday, too.
Yeah, throw him the football. I mean, like, just, you know, again, there's no adjustments. I don't know what the Giants are going to do, but when you continually, year after year, when you stink and you can't put a good product on the field, you got to go to yourself, what is the Maras and the Tisches doing? Is this now just like a source of income for them? Or we just, you know,
it's definitely a business from their point of view. For Tisch, it's a hobby. For Mara, it's the family business.
But now it's starting to look apparent. Like, look, let's just be another team in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's starting to feel like, because you're not putting the best guys on the field. We don't even know if Julian Love can play because he can't get on the field.
Right.
There was a perfectly good chance for Wayne Gallman to take the pressure off of Barkley yesterday.
Yes.
He can't get on the field. So just keep asking yourself, like, why and what is going on? Can anyone step up and stop the bleeding? That's it. Just someone step up and say, enough's enough. This is what we're going to do until they stop it. All this other stuff is just becoming noise.
I think the offensive line, just to switch off because we only got about 7 minutes to go because this is a short show today. The offensive line can't really block for Jones. They're used to blocking for Manning, which was 1, 2, 3, boom, right? He got rid of the ball right away. They're not used to having a kid hold on to the ball 6, 7 seconds, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Okay, so they don't really know what to do. If the first couple of seconds, they start to release, they start to look around, what's going on, where's the ball? It's difficult to do. So, I can't really blame them for that. But, he's also got to read that pass rush and have a better feel for the pocket.
After the
he's
second,
just standing there sometimes, and then he'll shoot out or whatever. But you can't expect your lineman to block for 5 or 6 seconds every play.
And the fact that after the second and the third time I got hit by Jones from Arizona. I forget his first
Chandler
name.
Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
After the second or third time Chandler Jones hit Daniel Jones, you would think he'd step up in the pocket. Like, you don't really
say, I got to watch out for this guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, I know he's a smart kid. That's why I keep coming back. I mean, listen, he was going to go to Princeton. He wound up at Duke. He's a smart kid. He's very cerebral. But I got to go back. Is anyone telling him after 3 seconds, please, for the love of God, step up in the pocket? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not coming.
That's right. And his line, like I said, they're not really used to that. And, at a certain point in the game, if you have to do that a lot, if you have to pass protect for 5 seconds, 6 seconds every play, how tired are you going to be by the third quarter?
Very.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm watching. And, another thing is Jalapeno is having a very bad year. A lot of people have been contacting me and saying, why don't they make the switch to Pulley? Spencer Pulley said, Jalapeno is not really calling the protections. First of all, he's not doing a good job with that. And secondly, he's not really, doing a great job blocking. So I think that, like we said 2 weeks ago, they should have made that change. The trade deadline's coming up. I really don't know what they have in mind. I don't imagine they'd be buyers. But you never know who can become available at the trade deadline. If there is a lineman that they can use, I think they should grab him on either side of the ball.
It's interesting.
Or a linebacker.
We're not going to even talk about that. We can talk. We can have a whole show about linebackers. Right. But I did want to mention something because it's a really interesting point about P.O. You and I have discussed it before, how Pulley got paid, but P.O. got the start. What drove me nuts yesterday, and I'm really not killing him because Chandler Jones is a phenomenal player. He just is. I mean, I'd love him to play for the Giants. But you would think, and maybe I missed it. Now, I haven't gone back and watched the game, okay? So I can only tell you the two things I noticed yesterday from my seats is, Remmers was struggling, right?
He had a bad game, yeah.
He didn't have. So why didn't they put a tight end or bring in the other guard who can play, quote unquote, tight end and chip at him?
Right. They were moving Jones around, though, to be fair. It wasn't just Jones.
I got it. I'm not saying it's purely Jones. I'm just saying that, like, for the love of God, try something different. Keep the tight end in and double whoever's on the outside, whether it's Jones or not.
Man, they're making it easy for him by isolating.
That's what I'm saying. Like how about the listen? how many plays did I see yesterday? Larry Fitzgerald, the pro's pro, blocking downfield.
Yes.
I mean, bring the receiver in and chip on the guy. Like, it just feels so amateurish, you know? And then the second thing is...
Ingram had a chip on Jones. He actually missed him, and Chandler Jones whizzed right past him.
Yeah.
So that didn't work.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't actually think that Ingram is the right guy to do it with.
Correct.
You know, but, you know, there wasn't enough of that. It was a lot of one-on-one blocking. But the other thing is that what I noticed, and I don't think you could pick it up on TV, was Barkley. If Barkley is not getting a handoff, right, they got him in this, like, safety valve swing route.
Yes.
Okay? And, you know, a lot of people on Twitter and throughout the day are talking about, like, why didn't they check it down? He's not going to check down because all he hears is Manning checks down, so he's not going to check down? Well, that swing route from Barkley was covered every play. Like,
but, you know, the other issue, just to interrupt you about Barkley, is they're taking him out of the backfield, like you said, and putting him out in the slot or, you know, for a pot pass or something. He should be blocking on some of these plays. They need him in there. Yeah. Because they don't have a fullback. They're not using a fullback. All right.
Well, yeah, they have.
But they're not going to give him the ball. I mean, I can understand that he could be a safety valve, but some plays he's got blocked too, and he wasn't doing it.
No. And I mean, literally, they would have him out in this safety valve swing route, probably one every 6 plays, or one of every 5 plays. And the cornerback, just like, you know, again, he's the most electrifying guy on the team, right? So they just put the corner in the flat, and he just sat there and he waited to see if they threw it for Barkley, because he was going to come up. And I kept saying, it's just a waste. You're decoying with Barkley.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
I don't like that idea. You know, like I said, you could be doing something else with him. He could be in there as a blocker, which he's a very good blocker. But I don't think they wanted to get him into a situation
and he missed a couple
like
blocks
that.
yesterday.
He did, yeah. You know, but still, that he should be able to do the whole job. If that's the case, like you said, get Goldman in there then.
Yeah, like, you know? Goldman got sent to like no man's land. You know, if he's healthy, and which, by the way, he came right in and ripped off 9-10 yards
and got called back. But the thing is like you said, you just can't have one running back. You've got to have at least 2, and they do have at least 2, and they're not playing 2, and it's a shame.
Well, the same.
I don't know what the hell they're doing on that sideline. Once the game starts, they forget everything they probably planned for.
Yep, I believe that wholeheartedly. And it's the same thing with the tight end. I'm not saying Red Ellison's got to get 8 targets, but, like, every time that they throw him the ball, he catches it and runs somebody over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if Ingram's kind of off yesterday, which he was, and I'm not killing him, the ball was wet, he got doubled a lot, I don't know, whatever it was, throw the ball to the other tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, if he's limping or he's sore, put Gallman in. Like, again, I think we started off the show with, what was your biggest takeaway? And what have we just talked about for the last 30 minutes? No in-game adjustments.
Yeah. And bad decisions, which Shermer always says, it was poorly executed too. Well, yeah. But, you know, that's throwing your team under the bus a little bit.
Which I think there's a lot of press out there talking about how he did that, and nobody seems to really appreciating that tact. So,
yeah, I couldn't believe he did that. You know, I would have said, look, it's on me. I mean, it was a bad call. We thought we could sneak it past him. That's all. Every time a pitcher throws a home run ball, what does he say? I thought I could get it past him.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I didn't. Same thing. 3rd and 18, you try to sneak a draw play in there, and if the player makes the first guy miss, maybe you do get something. But the first guy didn't miss.
Well, also, too, why don't we save that play for when the running back's 100% healthy?
Also, yeah, that's another thing. You know, I'm just so frustrated and so sick watching this week after week after week. You know, we have an article up in USA Today, you know, is Pat Shermer the guy now? And, you know, the clock's ticking, but I don't think they'll pull the trigger on this guy. They'll let him coach another year after this.
And you know what? Again,
because of the quarterback change.
Yeah, I also alluded to that earlier. Just because he is a rookie quarterback doesn't necessarily means he knows how to develop them. And I know people hang this shingle around his neck that says quarterback guru, and I'm not really sure where that comes from. But
he has turned some nobodies into somebodies like Nick Foles and Case Keenum.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, those are adequate quarterbacks, right? And that have done something in the league. I get it. So if that's the case, right now if you fire Shula, you're gonna get a different result because whatever they're doing, whatever that cliche is about doing the same thing over and over and over is the definition of insanity.
Right.
I mean, like that's where we are, and it goes bigger than just Pat Shurmur. It's like, hey Mara, hey Tish. We're doing this every couple of years since you got rid of Coughlin. Like, we've already done the McAdoo thing. Now we're doing the Shermer thing. Everyone's kind of sick of it, and it's the New York market, and it's a big-time NFL franchise. And half the franchise that doesn't know any better will be like, well, it's a building year and stuff. But we're not building anything good. We're not building on, like, oh, wow, this is impressive or that's impressive. No. We're playing guys with concussions that shouldn't play. Mm-hmm. We're playing running backs that should probably have some more time off, but somehow they're getting cleared to play. We got defensive guys, we're cutting guys, we shouldn't be cutting. We're not throwing the ball to people we should be throwing the ball to. So you got to ask yourself, like, how often does this have to happen? Like over and over and over. If they really want to win, you got to make a change that actually influences change.
Yes. And the big thing on Twitter today with me is I said, look, I go to the draft next year, pass rusher, tackle, pass rusher, tackle, pass rusher, tackle. That's what I'm doing. I am just bringing in bigger and bigger bodies because they have a lot of guys, skill players already. Oh, we got to draft Jerry Jeudy. No, you don't. What for? Is he going to block? No. He's a receiver.
No.
You have to fix the offensive and defensive line. You got to get a linebacker too. You have to have people in the trenches. They don't have enough. Okay, and I think a lot stems from there. If you have people that can dictate the flow of the game, you'll win.
And it's a little bit of scheme too, because Ogletree and Mayo have been playing really nice together, but they're not on the field very long.
No,
because we're putting 5 and 6 defensive backs in, because that's the new thing that
Ogletree played them all yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
Because of the alignment they went with. They needed at least one linebacker on the field, and he's the only guy that can do it.
Yeah. Well, again, he's vastly improved from the beginning of the year, and I'm happy for that because I always liked Ogletree, but there's just so many things going on, like and we can save it for another day because I know we don't have any time today. It's a quick show. And remember, you're listening to the Giants, guys. And,
right.
Maybe
we got about a minute, so make your point.
Yeah. So this is it. The one thing that sticks out at me that I was watching yesterday, and I'm going to go back and watch the tape probably tonight, is I really feel like because we don't have a pass rush, they're also like underusing Zimenez. Like he's disappeared. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they need to stand him up, put him down. Remember we used to run that NASCAR defense and we'd pull Tuck inside? Like, hello.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, I was like, that's us. See, people are calling the Giants guys because they got
you're on the clock.
Exactly. So that's just it. I feel if they were going to actually do something on defense, they actually need to take their star players and put them in an opportunity or a position to win. And Zimenez was a guy I was really looking forward to see, and he's just basically disappeared. That's not the player. That's the scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not getting the field time that he needs to develop. He's a high enough draft pick where you should be investing a little more in him. Golden is playing very well. I mean, they both play the same position basically, so it's hard to pull Golden off the field to put Zimenez in.
Well, they got Zimenez playing the other side now.
Okay, so
Golden was very active yesterday.
Then he's taken away snaps from the other guy, Carter. So
yeah, I'm just
the only position in the whole roster they have depth in.
Yeah, and just like I said, and for just so nobody misunderstands this, Golden was extremely active yesterday. I have very little, problem with the effort that you're seeing from Golden. He's as advertised, and it's nice to see. I mean, he's still not the guy, but on this defense, he's the guy. But Zimenez, who should be this game changer, has disappeared because they don't know how to use him, and that goes back to scheme.
Yeah, and to me, Carter should be a defensive end because he's big enough, like Kareem Martin was, and Zimenez should play linebacker. That's the way it should go. Now, instead, yesterday they had Golden at defensive end. They had him up on the line most of the game. He didn't get a sack, but they did have 2 sacks in the game, but they were sacks that Murray caused himself by running, getting caught behind the line of scrimmage trying to run. So he was actually a runner more than a passer at the time. So that's that. But I just don't understand what they're doing. They don't have a set lineup. They have a different lineup every week, and it's just something that they've got to get themselves. They got to get that straightened out because it's getting too confusing for everybody.
Agreed.
All right, so we'll do this again a couple of days and prepare for this week's game in Detroit, where the Giants are already 7-point underdogs. Detroit is a team that gets out to big leads and then blows them. Just the opposite of what the Giants do. Giants get behind and then try to come back. So it should be a very interesting game.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and just to give you a heads up, so at NY Giants Rush, we're going to have all 3 featured columnists material going up in the next half hour, which you'll see, Java with Jones, Pilgrim's Point, and Film Room, and Coach's Corner. All that stuff's going up. So, check out nygiantsrush.com. As far as Twitter, I think I'm taking a break today. I don't think I have anything left to give you.
Yeah, Twitter is people are going off, and we're talking about the draft already next year. Like, people are just packing it in.
Yeah.
They are.
I don't blame them, though. I don't blame them.
9 games to go. They're packing it in. So, there's not a lot of confidence. Like I said, I put that poll out there, and, only about, less than 10% are confident they're even going in the right direction, which is not a good sign. If the fans lose confidence, but a couple of wins in a row could help that. I don't know who they're going to beat, but, I don't think they'll win this week's game.
Nah, this is a 4-win team.
If that's the case, again, here we go. They're going to be up at the top of the draft in a quarterback-rich draft. What do? Do you trade out of there? If somebody came to me and said, I'm going to give you 2 number 1s and a number 2, I'd say, you got it. If I'm confident that Jones is my guy.
Yeah, well, because that like Cincinnati and Miami and
they're going to be ahead of the Giants, I think.
Well, yeah, all those teams need quarterbacks. Yeah.
So, do you say, okay, we're going to keep, or do you draft another quarterback?
No, they're never.
You never know. It's been done.
It has been, but that's admitting defeat to what you did last year.
But if
was
that's
wrong.
Let's say they change the coach.
I don't see it. That would be a complete PR nightmare for the Maras, and I don't think they have way too much pride to admit they made that kind of mistake.
Yeah. We'll see how Jones does the rest of the year. If he continues to make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and people are going to, what they're going to say about him. Came in with a high floor and a low ceiling, and that's what we're seeing. And you know what? I'd hate to say that, this is as good as he's going to get. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but I'll leave you with this. Bad habits are beginning to form. It's only, a blip on the radar screen in this kid's career. Help the kid start off the right way and actually work with him to make him better. Don't ignore it. Don't consider, hey, I told him to brush his teeth, so he'll get around to brushing his teeth. No, get in there and show him what to do. Sometimes I think they treat them, like they've been here before. And this is the pros. There's 1,800 guys in the league. They don't know what to do at this level. So if Jones fails, it's squarely on the shoulders of Pat Shurmur.
True. All right, so we'll circle back again the end of the week, and everybody out there, this is the Giants, guys, and thanks for listening. You satisfied with that, Craig?
I am satisfied with that.
Okay.